Running a business shouldn't feel like surviving a software group project. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in, an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together, from sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, all in one powerful platform. No messy integrations, no bouncing between tabs, and best of all, no spreadsheets. Stop managing software and start managing your business with one unified system. Try for free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
Welcome to Serenity Rising Healing with Cancer. I'm Bron Watson, and I want to welcome you to not just a podcast, but to a community. A new way of seeing, feeling, and walking through the chaos of cancer. Hello and welcome to Serenity Rising. 3 years ago, if you told me that a phone call and one sentence would rearrange everything I thought I knew about my own life, I would never have believed you. But that is exactly what happened. And today, I want to take you back there, not because I'm still standing in that moment, but because there is a version of me sitting in that room right now, listening to that. And of some things I want to say to her. Welcome back to Serenity Rising. Hi friends, it's Bron here, and this is a solo episode, so it's just you and me today. I want to talk about the first weeks and months after a diagnosis. That strange, disorientating stretch of time when the ground has shifted and nobody has handed you a map. I've written about this season in a lot of details in my ebook, When Everything Changed. And today I want to bring some of that off the page, and I want to speak it out loud for you in the way I wish someone had spoken it to me. So this episode is really a letter to that woman, that girl sitting in that doctor's office on the 23rd of February, 2023, hearing the words, yes, it's cancer again. And maybe if you are listening today in your own version of that room or your loved one's room, this letter may be to you too. I remember the oxygen leaving the room before the words did. That's the only way I can really describe it. A sudden, strange compression of the air, the sense that the world had shifted on its axis, and while everything in that room had stayed perfectly still but me. If that is a feeling you know, I want you to hear this. What you are feeling has a name. It's actually well documented. It's one of the most profoundly human responses to one of life's most profoundly difficult moments. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it is built to do when it senses a threat to survival. It floods your body with stress hormones. It narrows your attention. It can produce a strange, flat calm or a sense of unreality or waves of terror that arrive without warning. None of this means you are coping badly. All of it means is that your body is working hard to protect you. So to the woman in that room, to you, Bron, I want to say this. What you are feeling is not weakness. It's simply biology. Let it be biology and stop asking yourself to feel it differently. Don't fight it. Just let it be and let it do its thing. Like most things, it too will pass. There is a window of time that almost nobody warned you about. It sits between that first abnormal result and then the start of treatment. Researchers call it the liminal space. You know that something's wrong. You may even know what it is, but you can't yet act on it. I want to say plainly that waiting can feel worse than the doing. If you are sitting in it right now, watching the days inch forward, please know it's hard for everyone who has ever sat there. And it's one of the least supported periods in the whole experience. I can remember I literally hid from the world during that 6-week period. I couldn't answer the questions for myself, let alone anybody else. I literally sat outside and I would look at the trees and I would pray to God, whoever you believe in, go, please, please give me time. And then, of course, I went to Dr. Google. Well, that was no help. That even caused more anxiety when I kept reading words like terminal, blah, blah, blah. But if I could hand my earlier self one small thing for those days, it would be this. A short list of permissions rather than tasks. You just need to tell one person you can trust, just one. Write down the names and numbers from the appointment because memory doesn't work, especially when you're in shock. Eat something, drink water, get outside for even 10 minutes. Even just stand at the door. Choose one research limit, one trustworthy source, and one time of the day. Then close the tabs. 42 open is not going to help. And postpone any decision making that is not urgent because almost nothing cannot wait one more day. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the fishbowl. Now, let me explain. I've talked about this before. Here is something I wish someone had told me in plain language in those early weeks and months. I want you to picture a fishbowl full of water, just a small fishbowl. And somewhere in that water, there's a goldfish, but you can't see it. And that fish is the clarity that you're looking for. It's the next right step. It's the calm you are desperately looking to find. But the water is muddy and you can't see anything, especially that fish. And you're going, I know you're in there somewhere. Where are you? You do what feels natural in a moment of panic. You plunge your hand in, you get the stick, you start stirring around going, come on, fish. You search and you search. And the more you stir the water, what happens? The muddier it gets. So the more frantically you keep looking for the fish, the less you can see it. It was me at 1 a.m. typing my diagnosis into a search engine, horrified by what I found. So please hear me on this one. The internet does not know your specific cells, your specific diagnosis, your specific health team, your specific response to treatment. It cannot tell you your story. It will hand you the worst version of every possible outcome and let it sit with you in the dark. That frantic looking for the right answers from friends, social media, Dr. Google, AI, it's not an answer in and of itself. If I could take the phone out of my own hands at that moment, I would. Instead, I would say, let the water settle. Stop searching for something that may not be there. Sit still for 5 minutes, for an hour, for a day. Notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. You know where I'm going with this one. And ask yourself just one honest question. What is true and right in this moment? Not tomorrow, not the fear, just now. AKA, let the sediment in that fishbowl sink and the fish will come into view in its own time. It was at that moment that I started to lean in onto the serenity prayer. God, grant me serenity to accept what I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just insert your own version of God, universe, source. Because during this time of crisis and chaos, the last thing you need is an overload of information that won't make any sense until you know what you're dealing with. Before I get to the next one, let me tell you about the nights. Because nobody warned me about the nights either. Sleep is often the first thing to go, partly because your body stays flooded with stress hormones long after the appointment ends, and partly because the quiet of the night is exactly when the scary thoughts arrive, uninvited. For me, that's still the case sometimes. There is no magic fix for this, so please don't let anyone shame you for it. But there are a few small things that help. Keep a notepad by the bed. And when a thought lands at 3 a.m, write it down rather than chasing it. Yes, I said notepad, not your phone. Why? Because I want you to keep it as simple as possible. If you have your phone next to you, the temptation to doom scroll is a whole nother story. So now back to the notepad and the pen. Telling your brain the thought has been captured, aka writing it down, gives it permission to let it stand down. If you have been lying awake for more than 20 minutes, get up and sit somewhere else with a low light for a while. Still no screens, people. And whatever you do not research anything on the phone in the dark. The combination of a diagnosis and a glowing screen at 1 a.m. is one of the most distressing things you can do to a tired brain. And then there's decision fatigue, which is real and which is not your fault. A diagnosis arrives with an overwhelming cognitive load, appointments, opinion, choices about specialists, what type of treatments you want to choose, choices about who to tell and when. And underneath all of that, the deeper question, how to be in the world while this is all happening. Your brain is simultaneously processing a psychological earthquake and trying to manage a complex medical situation, and it will tire, sometimes much faster than you expect. This is not a personal failing. This, again, is physiology. In those weeks and months, I found it helped to sort out what was in front of me into rough categories. What was urgent, medical, act on, timeline, your team. What was urgent? What was urgent and medical related? So we act on the timeline that your treatment team has given you. What's important but not urgent? Decide within the week with one trusted person beside you. What is worth thinking about? Maybe give it a month. Write it down. It'll remind you. What can wait? Just write it down. And what is simply not yours to carry? Other people's feelings about your diagnosis, comparing yourself to anyone else's journey, release it with permission. Just let it be. Think the Serenity Prayer here. You may be surprised how much stuff falls in the Serenity category, not the courage or the wisdom categories. You may have heard me talk about the A equals A equation. It comes from my very dear friend Kerry Chinner. I'll actually tag the episode where we spoke about this. You can hear it from her because she knows it best. I'll put it in the show notes. Now, this is what she taught me, and it's one of the smallest tweaks that changed how I think entirely. She calls it A equals A. Something happens, a diagnosis, a scan, a phone call, an event, exactly as it is. We call that A. But our minds are extraordinary meaning-making machines, and the moment A happens, we go searching through everything we have ever learned or feared. And we build B, then we C, then D, and then E. B could be something like, well, this has happened before, therefore B means this, which reminds me of C, which connects to my fear of D, which means everything is about to fall apart, which is E. And suddenly we are no longer living in A. That small amount in time, that small event, we are now living in a story we've built about A, and it has become something so monstrous. Imagine that Oscar-winning performance you've just given in the story running in your head like a movie. Wow, that was epic and catastrophic at the same time. But it was also completely made up in our minds. After more than 50 appointments at my local cancer institute, I have learned to walk in and say to myself, this is an appointment. That is A, not what might be waiting on the other side of the double doors. I will deal with that when I have the facts and not one moment before. A equals A, full stop. To the woman hearing hard news for the first time, I would love to say, you don't need to solve B, C, D, and E today. You only need to hold A. What is actually true right now and nothing more. Literally this moment and this moment alone. Somewhere in those early weeks and months, people will say the wrong thing. They will tell you to stay positive. They will mention that their aunt and the turmeric and they're all fine now. They will say things like, well, at least it was caught early. Or worse, they'll compare you to their Uncle John who died from multiple myeloma. I have learned the hard way twice that what people say in those moments is very rarely about you. It's about their own fear of not knowing what to do with the news you have just landed on them. And underneath all of that noise is a pressure to perform recovery, to be strong or grateful or brave or inspiring. So here is the permission slip I wish someone had handed to me. You are not required to tell everyone today. You are not required to have a treatment plan today. You are not required to be strong or grateful or brave or any of the words people have used about you this week. You are not required to reassure anyone else about how you're feeling. You are only required to be here, today, in this body, in this moment, and that's enough. I want to leave you with the image that has carried me the furthest. It's what I call the path to healing. I'm sure you've heard me call it before. As our community knows, I believe we're on a path of healing, not curing. Why? Because everyone has the chance to go on their own path of healing, but not everyone has a chance to cure. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. Get out your mobile phone and imagine setting a destination in a map called healing. Yes, you have typed the destination to healing. And what happens? It calibrates and a blue line appears, showing you the way to the destination of healing. Then somewhere along the road, there's an unexpected turn, aka a treatment that doesn't go to plan, a scan that changes things, a bit like roadworks or a traffic jam on the map. The blue line does not disappear when that happens, it recalibrates. It finds a new way to the same destination. Sometimes it's a longer way, sometimes down roads you never ever imagined that you'd choose, but off you go again on the path of healing. So here's the distinction I want most of you to sit with. Healing and curing are not the same thing. Curing may or may not be possible depending on things outside of your control. Healing is something else entirely, and it is available to every single person regardless of what the scans say. Healing is the slow, often invisible work of finding peace inside a journey that you never signed up for, that is full of uncertainty road bumps. It is the deepening of relationships that matter. It is the small joys you did not notice when you were too busy before. It is the reclaiming of who you are underneath what has happened to you. So follow your blue line, my friends. That is finding serenity, because I want you to find your serenity, not mine. So if I could sit down across from the woman in that office on the 23rd of February 2023, here is what I would tell her. You are not required to have anything figured out today. Your body is not betraying you. It is protecting you, and that is not the same thing. Put the phone down and stop stirring the water. The fish will still be there when it settles. I want you to feel the feels. Give them a name. When we name our emotion, it gives our brain space and capacity to process. And that is when the water settles in the fishbowl and you can see the goldfish, aka the options available to you in the moment. Take off the mask of being fine, because everyone knows you could not possibly be fine. The kids are going to be okay, but please be vulnerable and share how you feel. Not your deepest, darkest fears, but the part of you who is real. They are stronger than you know. This is A and only A, and you do not need to carry B, C, D, and E as well. People will say the wrong thing, and none of it is a reflection of your worth, and it has nothing to do with you, and you are not responsible how they feel and act. You are allowed to grieve the life you had before you entered that doctor's room that day, and you are allowed to laugh again in the same week. You want to feel those feels, name it, and choose one thing you can do in one moment. Not 10 things, but just one. I call it the one thing. Sleep will come back in its own time. To be honest, I'm still waiting for that one. Not every decision needs to be made today or even this month. And healing, real healing, is already available to you right now, whatever your scans say tomorrow. You are not the old version of yourself, but you are still you. You are becoming someone new, someone who knows things about strength and softness that the old you did not know yet. That is not a loss. Give it time and let it be A, again and again for as many days as it takes. Those A equals A moments, they could become dozens a day, and learning to live with uncertainty is possible, but it does take time. Serenity, courage, and wisdom, my friends. That is all any of us are really looking for. And if there is anything that comes up for you today, please make sure you reach out to your health professionals. There is so much available. Please go to your own health teams. If anything in this episode has landed to you, I actually want to give you the book that I've written for this. It's everything I've shared and a great deal more, and it lives in one of my ebooks. It's called When Everything Changed, Finding Calm in the First Weeks and Months After Diagnosis. It includes the full frameworks, the research behind them, and a printable pocket guide you can keep close on the days you do not have the energy for a whole chapter. It is my gift to you. Of course, it's free and at no cost, and you can download it by using the links in the show notes. Just know that I see you, I feel you, and you are not alone, although it sucks a lot, I know. Wherever you are in your own story today, in the waiting room, in the stirring of the fishbowl, in the not knowing, I'm so glad you spent this time with me. So please make sure you have subscribed to Serenity Rising on your favourite podcast platform and share it with someone you know doing it a little bit rough. Until next week, enjoy every moment, because moments make memories and make every day count, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great having you here. And what I would love you to do is leave a comment or ask a question using my fan link below this episode and on every episode that we post. I would love to hear your thoughts, your questions, and I'll get back to you. Have a great day and bye for now.